Jumping open houses. A lot of you have probably already seen this um, class, maybe recorded or been on it before. It's kind of the same thing. It's not kind of, it is the same thing. But realistically, I'm really here for questions. Um, and and then I have one really big takeaway over everything else that we'll talk about at the end. So let's jump in. And again, unmute yourselves, ask questions. I'll try and watch chat. It's just on a different computer, but at least I have a second screen. Okay. So why do we want to do open houses? As a new agent, it's a great way to get in front of your buyers and sellers. And it's very inexpensive, right? You're initially spending some money on signs. And don't forget, we have open house signs at the office if you want to buy some. But it's a really great way to get in front of the now buyers and sellers rather than your internet leads are long term, your database, you got to get them thinking about you. It takes a while, that kind of thing. If you want to make open houses a pillar of yours for 2022, then commit to how many you're going to do over the next year. Get them on your calendar. Time block not only the day you're going to do them, but then backtrack. Time block that Friday, time block that Wednesday, a couple hours each of those days to work on it too. And we'll talk about what to do. If it is a pillar, I recommend you do at least 40 open houses this year. And out of those 40, you should easily to be able to get 6 transactions from them if you do what I tell you to do. And we'll go into all that. I really believe in doing them the right way. Something is better than nothing, right? So out of your 40, if 10 of them you can't do at all, that's okay. Something's better than nothing. But if you do all 40 and you commit to the majority of them the right way, you're going to reap the rewards, I promise you. All right. So the primary objective is to sell the actual house. And you've got to keep that in mind. You know, when you're in an open house, you're trying to assess first, does this buyer want to buy this home? The minute they say it's too small or too big or too whatever, then you can talk about helping them on something else. But first, always find out, is this the home for them? Oop. Okay, so let's talk about what are the right houses to do open houses on. So obviously you guys are all on Hub. You can see our listings that need opportunities. Those are great. But if you're doing 40 in a year, you're probably not going to be able to get all of them from our office. You're going to have to do some hunting for them, which is okay. You'll end up meeting agents who will let you do their open houses all the time. I recommend, we talked about time blocking a minute ago. I recommend time blocking 2 hours on Wednesday mornings or an hour on Wednesday mornings to text agents to see if you could hold their open houses. You want new listings that just came on the market, or you want a good size price reduction. $100 price reduction doesn't count, but a decent size price reduction will expose the home to new buyers, and that'll bring more buyers to your open house. Or if it just hit the market, that's going to bring the most buyers. If this open house has had an open house every weekend for the last 3 weekends, nobody's coming to the open house. I mean, maybe a few, but you're not going to get the numbers. You always get the most numbers on the initial weekend. And then at any kind of price reduction when you're attracting more buyers to it. You want to look at a first-time home buyer price point, ideally, because most of those buyers do not know they need an agent, or they don't even understand how it works. So you're going to have more opportunities at that doing first-time home buyer price points. That doesn't mean all 40 need to be first-time home buyers. You know, again, you may do some higher, and there's always going to be higher ones where you find unrepresented buyers, but I'm talking about stacking the statistics in your favor as much as possible. And now we have the train again. It's leaving. It's almost done. Okay. So again, if we're going to do 40 out of those 40, how do we get the odds in our favor, right? What can we do to help get us as many bats as possible? So first time home buyer price point, look at obviously your own listings, company listings, and then look at vacants for agents. Even occupied, they may let you do them, but the vacants are a lot easier because of COVID right now. Some sellers, you know, don't want people in their house and all that. So to avoid those, you could just look at the vacant. So you can either set yourself up, create a search, and then every Wednesday you click on that search, get the results, and just start texting those agents. But you literally, like if you set it up as a system every Wednesday morning, it shouldn't take you more than an hour, 2 hours tops to find a home to hold open that weekend. If you're truly making this a pillar, and this is going to be like your primary pillar, you may want to be doing 4 open houses a weekend. You could do 11 to 1 and 2 to 4 or 2 to 5, Saturday and Sunday, you know. I have had agents, some of my top producers, that's how they started out in real estate and made a killing. So something to think about. And again, I'm going very fast, so you guys unmute and ask questions along the way. Okay, so the week leading up to the event, what do we need to do? Again, we're going to find the listing Wednesday or Thursday. With home selling as quickly as possible, if you're looking Wednesday, just be careful they didn't already go into contract like Monday, Tuesday, right? Thursday, you can see what just came on the market Wednesday, and those homes should for sure give it through the weekend before they take offers, and so they should be doing open houses. You're going to want to, I love putting a sign out in front of the house the minute I pick the open house. I'm asking the listing agent to post the open house in MLS, and I'm putting a sign out in the front yard. It cannot be branded until you're actually doing the open house if it's not your listing. So don't say, Alex Navarro is holding an open house Sunday and it's Wednesday. Just say open house Sunday, 2 to 4 or whatever. Get it in front of the yard as soon as possible. So all those people driving by during the rest of the week, and even that Saturday, if you're doing it on Sunday, you're going to get a lot more people seeing the sign going, oh, we need to come back this weekend for that open house, and they'll come back. You also will get more people if you put the same kind of sign out in front of the subdivision. On Thursday night, Friday night, people are driving by the subdivision. It says this is going to be open this weekend. You'll get more people coming back. Again, we're doing all these little things to stack the deck so we get more at bats, right? So if we don't do in front of the subdivision, if we don't do in front of the house early on, it's not the end of the world, but then you're going to have a few less people at your open house, less opportunities. I'll caution you, the sign in front of the subdivision, the city, if it's in city limits, the city can pick it and take it. So either do it on Friday night after 5 o'clock when the city people go home, or just know those signs may get pulled. But city planners, owner, those people will let you do them on the weekends but don't want to see them during the week. Creating a Facebook event for the open house is a great way to get additional traffic to the open house, doing other social media posts and that sort of thing ahead of time. Again, we're doing it, Wednesday, Thursday, come join me this weekend. We're planting the seed along the way. Then on Friday, this one's a little weird for this market, but I used to preview all the active listings in the subdivision before I did my open house that weekend. Why did I want to do that? Because I wanted to talk about the other listings on the market. I wanted to be able to firsthand say, oh, this home's too small. Well, I was just in the 2-story around the corner on Main Street. It's gorgeous. It has the best natural light. They just redid the floors. I can talk about it because it's fresh in my mind because I just saw it. But with COVID right now, that's a little weird. Sellers are a little crazy about, coming in my house. So you could preview the active listings on the market, possibly, and you could possibly even, preview the occupied. I always would explain to the sellers, hey, I'm doing an open house in your neighborhood this weekend. I'd love to come by and just run through, get my eyes on it so I can talk about yours and my open house and maybe able to find a buyer for your listing. Would that be okay? If they don't like their agent, and if the listing was sitting and not selling, you may end up with that listing. I used to get a lot of listings that way. In this market, it's a little different because things are just selling no matter what. But when things slow down, that is a great way to get listings. When you go and preview the home, you leave your card. You don't say anything else. You can't solicit the existing listing. However, those sellers will be so impressed. You're doing open houses, you're previewing other listings. They'll remember your card and call you the minute they fire their agent. But again, in this market, it's a little different. The other reason you want to preview the active listings if you can is that as a new agent, it's going to give you confidence at that open house. You're going to be able to talk about firsthand what's going on in the neighborhood. Oh, there are 3 homes on the market in the neighborhood besides this one. I've seen them all. That's going to make you sound like you're so busy and you're an expert rather than a brand new agent. And then you're going to be able to talk about them. You can talk about a home so much easier if you've actually been in it and seen it versus just looking at it on an MLS sheet of paper. You're not going to be able to remember anything about it from the MLS. So I highly recommend that, at least on the vacants.
Hey, Karlyn? Yeah. Can you talk more about creating an event on Facebook? I've never done that.
So from your page, you can do an event, and remind me at the end. We'll jump into Facebook, and I can show you.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Okay, and then on Friday, we're putting together the binder that we're going to use for the open house, and we'll go into the binder. So again, the minute you commit to your open houses for the year, time block when you're doing vacations, time block any weekends you want off for birthdays, Easter, those kind of things. And then time block when you're going to do open houses. Get intentional and get them on your calendar. And then those Fridays, 2 hours to prepare, and Wednesday, an hour to prepare as well. Get all of that on your calendar, and you are much more likely to make it happen. Okay, day of the open house. I'm a crazy person, but I want 10 to 20 signs for my open house. We're going to grab my binder. In my binder, I'm going to have my feedback sheets, or you can use an app and make it digital. You're going to arrive early. You're going to make sure the lights are on, the fans are on, the blinds are open. Even in the winter, when we have heat on, still have fans on for fresh air. If there's any weird smells, be prepared to handle those. So like, if you're holding a listing that's not yours, you may want to have kind of a kit, go-to kit for handling smells sometimes. Like there's little jars you can open and the beads attract the stinky smells, like it neutralizes the air, those kind of things help a lot. I'm trying to think what else. Sometimes if you want, like if it's your listing, whatever, you can get permission ahead of time to make cookies, that kind of thing. Food and drinks is fun, but not during COVID necessarily. We used to do that a lot. It slows the people down, gives them an excuse to hang out with you and talk to you a little bit more. So I do like that idea, but with COVID, you gotta be a little careful. Signage. So let's talk about signs. It drives me crazy when I see agents, especially our agents, do open house signs if they don't do them correctly. This open house sign is okay, but it doesn't scream, I have an open house going on. Versus this screams, there's an open house going on. The other thing can be said, I thought I did a diagram on here. The other thing can be said about signs is that when you're doing 50 miles an hour down a road, like 967 or 1626, right? And there's one open house sign at the corner where you're supposed to make the left or the right. Is that car doing 50 going to make that turn? No. They need 100 yards, 150 yards at least to say, hey, there's an open house coming up. Should we slow down, make the turn and do the open house? Yeah, let's. Okay. So you need to have sign leading up to the giant turn. And at every turn, there's an open house or two sign. Every time you come to an intersection and you think, do I go straight or do I turn? You better have a sign telling them to go straight or turn. If you make them think too much, you're going to lose them. They're going to turn around. They're going to go somewhere else. They're going to think, oh, it was last weekend. Agents get lazy and leave signs from the weekend before. So we want to make sure there's no chance, no doubt in their mind, there's an open house going on right now. Again, it's about stacking the deck in your favor so you get more people to that open house, which are more opportunities at bat and more closings. That's the goal. And again, some of your open houses, you may not have time to do all those signs. Or some of the open houses, you may not be able to do all this prep work. But the more of these things you do, the more people will come to your open house, the more chances you have to convert them to clients. All right, what do you need to know about the house before you go do the open house? This is important. You should really, off the top of your head, be able to quote the square footage, your bedrooms, the price, how long it's been on the market. Most of these are just coming on the market. But if you have a weird one or it's been on a while and you just did maybe a price reduction, you better be prepared to answer why. Know the area amenities. Go, like if you're doing a new neighborhood you've never been to before, drive by the amenities. And then when people are leaving, recommend they drive by the amenities. Sometimes they'll come into neighborhoods and they don't know there's a great clubhouse and kid pool and lazy river or whatever it is. You may also want to know the tax rate and whether that's good or bad for the area. And then have information on you about the solds and actives in the subdivision, which is going to go in your binder, which we'll talk about in a minute. Now we're going to talk about the binder. How about that? So the checklist for the binder. Feedback sheets. I'm a paper person. I love paper. I'll talk about the feedback sheet itself in a second. But there are apps. There's even apps that will feed the leads to your CRM. You can get all fancy, but I'm just old school. You want IABS forms. Why? Because you've got to, the minute you have a serious conversation with one of these prospects, you need to provide a copy of the IABS to them. The MLS printout, the agent one page. I say agent one page. I would probably print the agent full instead of the brief. The brief is the one page. The full has 2 pages. Usually the second page is just all the public remarks, but I would have it with you so that if you do forget, the tax rate or want to know the total taxes or whatever, you have it easily available. Have in there a copy of the survey, the seller's disclosure. Make sure you have some flyers to hand out, your business cards to hand out, and then have other neighborhood activity. So I would want like snapshot with all the sold so I can show how this home's priced compared to what's sold in the neighborhood. I would want all the MLS sheets, the agent full sheets on all the actives, because one of the best leads is, let me close up this open house. I'm almost done with it anyways, and we'll go look at homes. And then I've got the MLS sheets and we can go look at homes. Those are the best leads. What else in the book? So the idea is you're preparing that book on Friday, putting all of this in there. I used to, and I should have a copy of mine. I always do this. I always forget this, but I would just have a black binder, 3-ring binder, and I put the tabs in there for all of these things. And then I just replace the sheets in it each week with whatever open house I'm doing. When I held my own, did my open houses on my own listings, and I had that listing binder in the house all the time anyways, and it was there. But for you guys who are doing different open houses all the time, just create a binder and then use it every week. On the feedback sheets, let me see if I go into the feedback sheets. I don't. No. Okay, we'll talk about feedback sheets in a minute. Remind me, Sarah, we're talking about event on Facebook and feedback sheets. Okay. So during the open house, let's talk about scripting for a minute. I personally love to let them come in the door. I introduce myself. I let them know a little bit about the house. So I'll say, hey, thanks for coming in. We're 3,000 square feet on the market at $299. Right? Whatever. That's not fair, but whatever. And I say my name. I say, take a look around. I'm here if you have any questions. And then as they're circling back around, the first question I'm going to ask is, how did you hear about the open house? I want to know where they came from. Did they come from my signs? Did they come from an MLS? Did their realtor send them? Are they a nosy neighbor? That's how you're going to learn where they came from. And I like tracking those things. I like to know, how did they find me, and then keep track. So if you're committing to doing 40 open houses this year, then keep a log of where you did it, what kind of results, how many people, where did they come from, all that, because those numbers will help you get better and better. Before they leave the kitchen, I always say, I've promised my seller I'm going to get feedback on all the people who come to the home. Will you take a moment and fill out my sheet? I personally do feedback sheets different than everybody else. I ask all the questions on the top of the sheet, and then I ask for their information at the bottom of the sheet, because they'll get used to answering the questions at the top, but they're more likely to fill out the bottom. But if you start with asking them their personal information at the top, then sometimes they're going to be like, oh, I don't want to do that. And they're going to move on. So you're going to get more completed, more filled out if your information's at the bottom. And I'm pretty sure we have open house feedback sheets on Hub's Read Assist. But I'll pull mine up in a minute. Start bonding.
They're on there.
What's that?
They're on there. I always
Okay.
put them up.
Okay, good. So the goal is to start bonding with the client, the lead, and ask questions. Obviously if an agent sent them, you're not gonna be able to help them, but you can ask if there's interest or whatever, if you're not trying to solicit their services, or you're not gonna be trying to get them to solicit your services. It's a Monday. But if you're getting the green flag, right? Oh, we just started looking, we don't have an agent, you're going to keep asking questions, building rapport. Go into the Ford technique, right? Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Start with family. If they mention they love the schools here, then go deeper on, oh, you have kids, how many, boys, girls, that kind of thing. Maybe it's about their job and being close to the job. Whatever it is, whatever clues they give you, you want to go deeper and ask a few more questions about those clues to help build that rapport and trust. Once you've got some trust, the goal is to go in for a close and close on them meeting you for an appointment. So the goal of every lead that comes into an open house, the number one objective is to get a buyer consultation scheduled from it. Now, they may be in a lease for the next year. Great. The next step in the home buying process is for us to get together. We'll talk about what this next year will look like. We'll even talk about maybe opportunities for me to be able to buy you out of the lease and help you get into that home if you're interested. Or maybe they're, relocating and they're only here for the weekend, and they're not working, they're not committed to an agent. That's the other thing is, when you ask, do they need an agent? Ask if they're committed to an agent. Committed is very different than working with an agent. If you say, are you working with an agent? It's very easy for them to say yes, and then game's over, right? But if you say, are you committed to an agent? that's going to make them think. They may have an agent, they may not like the agent, they may not want to be committed to the agent. So that'll make them rethink it. So ask about commitment. And again, if we're getting green flags, no red flags along the way, then we're going to close for an appointment. I have so many agents who do open houses. They get leads in the open house. They never close for an appointment. And all they're doing is chasing those leads later. And the problem is when you're chasing the lead, so are a bunch of other agents because they go to other open houses. They're online looking. So there's a dozen other agents trying to get that business. So if you're the one who successfully schedules that face-to-face consultation with them and does a buyer consultation, you have an 87% chance of closing and getting them to that closing table. So I want you to practice closing on them at the open house. You're getting all these green flags, they're sharing with you. Great. The next step in the home buying process is for us to get together. Let me buy you a cup of coffee. Let's meet at my office. I personally believe try closing to meet at the office. It's a very professional setting. You'll have, MLS at your fingertips. You can pull it up on the TV and show them listings. But if that's too formal for them, they push back. We're going to try and close on them 3 times. So if they push back the first time, then I'm going to build a little more rapport. It means I haven't built enough trust with them. And then I'm going to try and close again. And this time, let me just buy you a cup of coffee. There's no obligation. Let's just visit and talk about how I can help you in your home buying, and you'll get to know me. I'll get to know you better, and we'll decide if we want to work together after that. How does that sound? If you try the coffee and then they push back again, then the third close can just be a follow-up phone call. No worries. I understand you're not ready yet. How about, would it be okay if I call you 2 weeks from today at 5 o'clock? Or whatever it is, right? Based on the conversation. Set an appointment for a next step, always, always, always. That's sales 101. Never let them leave. You show them a house, never let them leave without a next step set. Any questions on any of this? Closing for the appointment is the game changer, guys. You could do 40 open houses this year and get nothing out of it if you're not closing for appointments, or you can try to close for an appointment on every open house and end up with a whole lot more deals. You can get a lot more than 6 out of that 40.
I assume you would not want us to give them a buyer guide at the open house.
If you're going to lose them, if they're going to walk away, you could. I'd rather you have a different handout for them, because the buyer guide is what you want to go over with them in the buyer consultation to get them to sign the buyer rep.
Right.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different handouts you can do. You could do like a credit 101 handout, or buyer, there's different buyer tip stuff we could come up with for you to give to them, or just have the flyer on the house itself with your information on it, or do like an RPR report about the neighborhood, or, there's a lot of things you could have for them as giveaways besides the buyer guide. Good question. Anybody else have any questions on this? Has anybody ever done an open house and actually closed for an appointment? Let's start there. Cheryl has. Awesome.
I had someone come to my open house that wasn't coming from an open house. It turned out to be the listing I'm going to do in May. He was wanting questions about that, and I'm just like, I'm your girl.
That's so perfect.
And it worked out.
That's awesome. Yeah, the minute in the conversation with an open house lead, if they have another home to sell, then that appointment you're trying to close for that appointment at their house, so you can see their house and talk about value on that house. And then you can go into the buy side after that. But all of a sudden you switch gears and focus on that house.
Yeah, he had nothing. He lived in this neighborhood, same neighborhood, and he just came over because he had seller questions. He had no interest in the open house.
Yeah, nosy neighbors. Those are great. You gotta love that. That's awesome. Chrissy, I know you've gotten business from open house.
Oh yeah, I love open houses.
Yeah. Awesome.
Do tell.
Well, I want to do more of them recently. I haven't had any luck reaching out to the other agents to try to get open houses. I think maybe because things are going quickly. So I'm definitely going to do it on Wednesdays, but I think I'm going to start doing, if I don't get any traction, I think I'm going to do it Thursdays and Fridays too for new listings. But I like the event on Facebook. I haven't done that yet. So
Good. Yeah. Yeah. The key is like texting. Don't email an agent. Don't call an agent. You're making them do more work than they want to do, right? It's a quick text. Hey, I love your new listing, but I do an open house Sunday from 2 to 4. And they'll either say Sunday from 2 to 4 is booked, and I'll say, fine, how about 1 to 3 or whatever, or they'll say no, or they'll ignore you. Hopefully in text that they're not ignoring you. But yeah, if you're doing it on Wednesday, you're only looking at homes that just came on like Wednesday, Tuesday, not any earlier. So maybe do it Thursday and look at homes that just came on Wednesday, Thursday. You need the newest listings that just hit the market. And agents are shooting themselves in the foot. They don't let it go through a weekend, but we don't want to be the ones to tell them that. So
Chrissy, do you have any success tips?
be friendly. I always talk to people, even if they have agents, because most of the times they're just going to tell you an agent so you don't talk to them.
Right.
that's why I like the committed instead of working with an agent.
Yeah. And so even if they have an agent, I've been helpful with, I was like, oh, well, I ask questions. Well, why isn't your agent with you? Like, and then I start going on about the neighborhood and stuff like that. So I've had callbacks just from, because I'm giving them information, just kind of like she's saying about knowing the neighborhood. I'll just give out free information because what else? I'm just going to be staying in there anyway.
Absolutely. And you may impress them and they feel like, well, we're committed to our agent, but we don't like our agent, but our best friends are about to buy. We're going to tell them about you. There's always opportunities you don't know about that absolutely.
Yeah. I think one of the big things too, on anybody on any lead, one of the big things that I've gotten is make sure you're following up, because I've been on both sides where I've followed up really well. And I have active buyers right now that I'm helping find a home. But then I've also had, for the open houses, we haven't got up to this part yet. I'm sure you're going to get to it, Karlyn, but where you door knock all the houses around it. And I've had really good conversations with some people, and I kick myself in the butt for not following up with this one woman who ended up listing like a month later. Killed me. So
yeah. Follow up is key. I really want you, the minute you leave or the minute you're done with an open house and the lead is left, let's say you closed on one appointment, but then you got 10 emails from other prospects that you didn't close for whatever reason. That's okay. That's a total win. Like one appointment is a huge success for an open house. And some of your open houses are going to be duds, guys. They're not all going to be home runs. Some are, no one's going to come, or they're all going to have representation. It is a numbers game. Real estate is sales, and sales is a numbers game. So we're looking at, again, 6 closings out of 40 open houses. That's a lot of work for the 6 closings, but well worth the money. But I love sending a follow-up video the minute you're done with your open house. Video yourself thanking them for coming to your open house. The reason you want to do that is they may have stopped at 2 or 3 other open houses, and if you just text them and thank them for coming, they may not remember who you were. But the minute you send a video of yourself, they're like, oh, we really liked her. And now you're going to stay in communication with them, and you're going to send videos from time to time, and they're really going to like you. And then you're going to invite them to your website and everything else. And it's all going to come full circle, and you'll convert a lot more that way.
I get a lot of positive feedback from that. I always try to make notes, like husband and wife, this, that, 2 cats, 1 dog, kids, whatever. And I use those notes when I do the video, so I remember who I'm talking to.
That is very smart. Yeah, I love that.
And include something about this yard is going to be great for your 2 dogs or something,
Brilliant. I love that. That's perfect. Door knocking the neighbors for sure. All right. Josh is just, but we're almost done for Josh. That's okay. Carol can teach it to him later. Hey, Josh, I was just giving you a hard time because we're almost done. We're on the last slide now.
Okay, my bad.
No worries. That's okay. Cheryl's going to share it all with you. Okay, so let's talk about the rest of this, which is what Chrissy said. So running a Facebook ad, it's a bigger event. Maybe, you want to do a giveaway or something. Not only can you do an event, but you can do an ad to boost that event. Doing social media, obviously, letting us know, and we can put it on our social media as well. Doing a drawing for a door prize. So if you are going to do a door prize, definitely use that on social media. door knock the neighbors. I love the 5-5-10 rules. So you do 5 to the left of the home, 5 to the right, and 10 across the street. So you're door knocking a total of 20. The goal is to try and get 5 to 10 conversations out of it. And we just lost Josh. That's okay. The goal is to have conversations with the neighbors. Who could care less about the open house, probably, right? I mean, some of them may be interested, but the goal is just to start having dialogues, having reason to talk to them. Hey, I wanted to let you know I'm going to be doing an open house across the street. Love for you to come by, check it out. If you've got any questions about this crazy market, I'm here for you. And let them talk, let them engage, see if they have any future plans of selling. Most, when you door knock neighbors, most of them are, oh, next spring, next year, when my kids graduate in 3 years. But those are all future, those are all conversations about real estate. So we're getting one step closer to a closing. But those are all future sellers that you're going to add to your database. I always, when I door knock, I ask, do you want me to put you on a market report and get a market snapshot of what's going on in the neighborhood once a month? Oh yeah, we'd love to see that. Great. I'll put you on my email campaign. You can also door knock and say, I'm a great resource to help you when it's time to fight your property taxes. Feel free to use me anytime. Here's my information, that kind of thing. So we're coming to them being informative and educational and as a resource rather than trying to get business, if that makes sense. Doing a neighborhood wide open house. So that's when you join other agents and you say, hey, let's all get together and hold all our listings open this weekend. That we do when the market's a little slower, not right now. An agent only open house is usually done during the week where you provide lunch. You can get a lender to partner with you usually who will pay for it, or an inspector or somebody. Those, again, when the market's this hot, we're not doing those, but those are good ones to do later on. Same thing with themed open houses. If I'm doing an open house on my farm, then I love theme open houses because it's really helps stand out and it'll attract a lot more people. But these are just some ideas. All right, real quick, let me stop sharing. I'm going to show you guys my feedback sheet real quick, and we're going to jump into Facebook because Cheryl asked me a question about technology and social media, and I'm going to do my best to answer it. Let's see here. Okay, so here's a copy of the feedback form. Again, I'm asking for their info at the bottom. These are in Hub. Up here is asking them to rate the home and then, tell us how likely are you to write an offer and any kind of other feedback. Again, the script is, I've promised my sellers I'd ask everyone to give us feedback on their showings. If you wouldn't mind taking a moment to fill it out. You may, if COVID concerns, you may do like clean pens and dirty pen thing. And then a lot of agents will do technology and do the app with the feedback sheet. That's totally fine too. Whatever works for you guys. The goal is just find what works and stick with it. But I've seen a lot of feedback sheets out there where this information is up at the top and you're going to get less people filling it out if you do that. So that's just my only piece of advice there. Another thing I didn't mention is reverse prospecting. So right before you do the open house, if it's your listing, you can't do it if it's not your listing, but if it's your listing, you can pull up all the agents who have clients on a search who got your listing in their search. And so you can invite all those agents to invite their clients to your open house. You can say, hey, agent from Keller Williams, I'm holding an open house this weekend at blah, blah, blah. I see you have a client set up on a search that got this listing. Feel free to invite them to my open house, that kind of thing. That'll help get you more people to the open house as well. And again, more numbers, better for all aspects. All right, let's jump into Facebook real quick. Give me a second. Because I was not logged in. Oh, I am logged in. Okay. I'm going to go to my broker owner page. And then I'm going to go. There it is. Okay. So I haven't been on here a little while, I suppose. I guess not, because it's been what, December. Don't do what I do on Facebook. All right. So event, create right there. So on your business pages, you should have that. And so it's going to be an in-person. This you'll change to like a picture of the house, or maybe it'll just say open house, kind of have an open house generic banner, that sort of thing. And then you're gonna put when and where and all the details and make sure it's public. So that way people on a Saturday, what happens is people on a Saturday when they're out, they sometimes will pull up what's going on event wise around them. And I don't know how to do that part on Facebook. And then you'll come up as a, hey, there's an open house right by me. So you can get quite a bit of traffic that way. Does that help, Gerald?
When would you suggest posting that?
The minute you've committed to it.
Do you repost it like Saturday, or that just stays up?
So the event stays an event. So when you pull up Saturday, what's happening around me, it's there. But what you can do additionally is boost it or talk about your open house in a post and then send them to the event.
So you just create that print thing like you showed. I was gonna ask about whether you would prefer like to do a video talking about it, or I guess that would be on your personal page.
So you can do like, so the event is just a static page, right? Like what it does is it creates a landing page on Facebook for that event. But then what you can do is do a post on your business page again, talking about the event, driving traffic to that event, and then share that to your personal page.
Okay. Good idea.
Yep, absolutely.
You could also add video in the discussion part of the event too.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you could below it go in and do a video there. That's true. The problem is you won't have video of the open house until you're there. And don't forget too, guys, I have agents who are like, nobody came to my open house. Man, I got work done. I was excited when nobody came because I can do all my note cards of the open houses, work on my database, do all your social media, like while you're in an open house, make sure you're doing a video, you're taking pictures, you're creating additional content for future social media posts. There's all kinds of opportunities with open houses. And if you're a brand new agent and you're doing open house, open house, open house, your database is going to see these videos and think you are so busy and you have all these listings. They don't know they're not your listings. That's awesome. All right, guys. Any other questions? I hope that helps.
Thanks, Karlyn.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. You guys have a good day. We'll see you later.
Thanks, Karlyn.
Bye.
Bye.